Hey everyone, welcome to the PLC for High School Dance. This is our third and final segment of the Facilitating in the Dance Classroom webinar. In our last segment, we talked about student collaboration on curriculum. So for this section of the webinar, I'm going to go through two different lesson plans that I've created. The first one is going to mirror the last segment with the what, how, and why. And then the next one, the second lesson plan will be about flatbacks. I figured most of us teach a flatback in one way, shape, or form. So, and again, we're just trying to move away from the teaching from the top down model and really getting the kids in on their learning and giving them agency in their learning process. So take these whole lesson plans from top to bottom and use them in the way they were written. Take one little piece of them, take whatever you want from these lessons. And that's all. You can use any part of it. Okay, so let's see here. The what, how, and why. And actually, I'm going to have to navigate out of here, and I'm going to open this. And I'm going to move myself. Okay. And again, the way I wrote these lessons, it works for my class periods and the way my day is set up. So there might be some adjustment if you use these as well. You might have block scheduling or something like that. So again, use it however you need to use it. So the title, what, how, and why. And then I put about 2 class periods for myself just because I have about 55-minute classes. And in this particular lesson, there's no changing or actually no dancing. So, I'm not sure if it would take us 2 class periods. I think it would be dependent upon, how receptive the kids are. If they're going to really get into it and delve into it quickly, then we can do it in one period. But I just gave 2 just to be safe. So the big idea is in order to understand dance, students must first understand what they are learning, how they're learning it, and why they're learning it. So in order to better engage in the dance classroom, the students must be consulted on what content they're learning. And then, collaboration between teacher and students always lead to a better positive classroom environment and a cohesive relationship. And then facilitating student learning rather than traditional teaching methods engages students in their own learning process. So I have the big ideas there. And again, you may have lesson plan templates that you have to fill out or just have to keep on file. So I figured most of these categories are on most lesson plan templates. So big ideas. Our key questions, of course. What types of dance? How do you learn and why do you dance? And then how do I collaborate with my teacher to create a curriculum plan? During this lesson, the students will, of course, reflect. They'll identify and explore dance genres that they like and want to learn. They can recognize what learning methods work best for them. And then they can plan and collaborate to create a 1-week-long curriculum map. I did it for 1 week. Again, it might be for 2 days or however you wanted to set that up that works best for you and your students. Threw some vocabulary in there, collaboration, curriculum map, multiple intelligences, and then reflection. And I will go back down here. I have rubrics. I didn't make any worksheets or anything like that or surveys, so I figured some of that kind of stuff is very personal to the way we teach. So I did not create some of those. There's a diagnostic assessment as a classroom discussion. Did I make a survey? I didn't make the survey or worksheet, but I figured, again, that was something personal that you could make. And then there's a reflective writing. And then your summative would be a small group 1-week curriculum map. And I wrote the rubric for that, I think. So we'll get down to that. Here are your supplies that you need. I pulled the GSE, not GSA, GSE. Sorry about that. So again, understanding and modeling dance etiquette as a classroom participant, performer, and observer, and then demonstrate critical and creative thinking aspects in all aspects of dance. And then, of course, engage in self-reflection and self-assessment. And then demonstrate an understanding of dance as it relates to other areas of knowledge. And then use a variety of resources to investigate dance genres. So then this will go through. So basically, I have you starting with a like Socratic seminar kind of class discussion, and then giving the kids prompts. And here a list of prompts that you could use. And I have like I said, I have a classroom discussion rubric. And then after the discussion, the teacher should have a bit more knowledge about where the students stand with the types of dance they want to learn. And then how they learn best and why they are taking dance. Second activity, you can use laptop if you can get a laptop cart, or you have computers in your room, or they can use their own devices to do some research and look up different genres of dance that they're interested in. Of course, you will need to limit the scope, because you limit the scope to what you are comfortable teaching, and also what resources you might have to bring people in. And I'm thinking just off the top of my head, if somebody wants Bollywood, to learn Bollywood dance, and you're not trained for that, nor am I, you would either have to use a student in your class that does know Bollywood to teach their peers, or you would have to bring a guest artist in. So you've got to decide on the scope of where you want them to research and what genres they want. So either you have lots of resources where you can bring people in to teach this, or you want to do it all in-house, and so you have to make the scope a bit smaller. Then I have you guys splitting up into different groups. I said 4, but of course that depends on your class and how many kids you have. And then you want to split up so then I have you having a calendar that's blank. And so you can assign days or a week, whatever you want, again, to each group. And then they would decide on their genre, and then they would plug that into the calendar. So then they would do, of course, a reflection writing at the beginning of class, if you're doing this the second day. And then the activity 2 would be the rest of the time students work in groups to come up and finish the curriculum map. So I've got activity 1, 2, and 3 for day 1, and then if it goes into the next day to make the actual curriculum map, day 2 with 2 activities, the reflective writing and then the actual creating of the calendar. And so here's the class discussion rubric that I've created, and then, like I said, I didn't make a worksheet, and then here's a reflective writing rubric that I've got. So, that's one way you could get them into the collaboration on curriculum. So that's the what, how, and why lesson. I'll go to the next lesson. I'll just move over here. I have a PowerPoint slide for that, but I'll just go right here. So modern dance concepts, the flat back. I didn't put anything for lesson length because, again, that's, I believe this whole thing could be done in one class period. So, again, big ideas. The flatback is an important aspect of modern dance. And then using flatbacks as a warm-up is a great way to work on balance, alignment, flexibility, and strength. Here are your key questions. What is a flatback? And again, you would have to adjust this if you're working with a more advanced group. This would be written for pretty much novice dancers who had never taken dance. Here are the processes. They'll recognize the flatback. They'll identify which muscles and muscle groups. They will perform a flatback with correct alignment. They'll explore and execute a flatback through individual and group work. Articulate what is correct and incorrect when working with a partner. And then they'll critique their performance of a flatback. And then they'll reflect, of course. So you've got your vocabulary, alignment, abdominal muscles, balance, breath, core. It goes on and on. So there's some vocabulary. We've got a diagnostic, formative, and summative assessment. The diagnostic would just be you observing where they are when they're starting this. And then the formative would be one-on-one or group in-process corrections as they're working individually and with a group, with a partner. And again, I've got the, if there's a class discussion, I've got the rubric and the reflective writing, which is the same from the other lesson. So again, here are your performing standards. So basically, this would be, rather than starting your technique class like you usually do, this would be maybe having them sit on the floor stretching as you or a student with the knowledge of a flat back would demonstrate what it is. Or if you wanted to show a video, you know, it might be easier for you just to demonstrate, but that would be up to you. So, and then as it's being demonstrated, you would talk about the mechanics of it, how you do it, what muscle groups are you using, all of that kind of thing with you know, are you using your shoulders pressing down, you're standing up nice and tall, your weight is forward on the balls of your feet, all of that stuff. Then after that has been shown and discussed, then they will get up and work on their own, looking in the mirror. I usually have the kids turn one way or the other, stage right or stage left, so they can look at themselves in the mirror while they're doing the flat back to see that their back is actually at that 90-degree angle. So then after they've done that for a little bit and you've found that they are understanding the concept, then you can bring them back together. The other idea would be to pair them up, and you can use the wall. I always back them up against the wall and then do the flat back, because then their weight has to go forward, so it can't sit back in their heels. And then they can work with a partner in this part as well. So each partner can observe. Each partner can be the doer and the watcher to make those observations, and then they can offer advice or suggestions. It would be great if you had in the class partnered up, would be a student with experience and one without experience. I know that doesn't always work perfectly. So then after they've done that partner work, then you can bring the class back together, and then you could teach a flat back series, and that would just be depending on your level of the class. So then that could be, you know, day one could be over at that point, and then you could have them sit down and do a quick reflection in class, or you could assign that as homework if you wanted to. And then again, this is the length or however long you wanted to do that. So it just depends on how long you would want the lesson to be. You know, once you get that initial introduction of the flat back, then, you know, you can move on and have them do more series of them in groups. And then you can have the groups split it in half and have one group, of course, sit down, or maybe not even sit down, but even walk around as group one is doing it, and have them taking notes and you know, looking for things. Of course, not like critiquing so much. Well, maybe critiquing, I guess so, but making sure that it's like, well, that's wrong. Well, what is wrong about it? You know, so that they can identify those things. So anyway, that is the two lessons. We've got there's my flat back. So we had the what, how, and the why lesson, and then the flat back lesson. And just quickly, I want to go over here. I did put this in the document section. So I have a folder, a lesson plans folder, and this is on the Godot community. Click the lesson plan, and then I have put it in here, flat back and how, why. Remember though, you have to click on the dots to download. So you would download, and then I'll get onto your computer. Okay. If there are any questions, let me know in the discussion, and I'd be glad to start a conversation about any of this. I hope you enjoyed the whole webinar, Facilitating in the Dance Classroom, and I will see you next time. Have a great Christmas break.